hated the taste of alcohol, absolutely hated it, but I liked the warm feeling. It was like once it got past like here, it was like,
Yep.
ooh, oh, oh, that's why she, ooh. And then it started to take away all the trauma, for a moment, for just a moment, would take away some of that childhood trauma that never got, discovered until later in life.
Right.
But yeah, I know how people see us in our walk in recovery. And I hear them, when they're talking and they're still intoxicated. And I'm very cautious on what I say because again, our as peer support specialists, our first statement, our first thing that we say, do no harm, you know. And that's never my intention is to do harm for folks. I don't want to pull them or push them
Right.
into something that they're not ready for. Also, too, I've learned as a coach, as a peer specialist, is that, and I was just saying this to you before we got on, is, I can't unveil their discovery. I can
Correct.
be there to witness it with them, you
Absolutely.
know, but I can't unveil their discovery,
Right.
you know?
Absolutely. And I think that goes along the lines that you were just discussing, right? Because I know where they're at and it has to be, one of the rules of thumb is meet people where they're at. Well, I know where you've been at, right? Because
Mhm.
since I was a little kid, I'm growing up in an alcoholic family and all the trauma and drama and all the things, right?
Right.
When I took my first drink at 11, I drank to get drunk because that
Mhm.
warm feeling went into something magical. I was no longer me. I was
Yes.
something else,
Mm.
right? And I know where they've been. That's exactly where they're at, only they can't get that anymore. They can't
Right.
find that first, right?
Chasing
There
it.
you'll never get that first again.
Oh
Never.
yeah. How many
So
times I chased it. Oh my
oh,
God. And I said, people used to say, "Oh, here comes Carol. She's on a mission."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so, but that thing, that thing that made me feel different is now what I feel with my spiritual walk. Because
Yes.
it comes and it's there and I'm in the moment and I'm walking, I'm either in ceremony or I'm working with a participant
Mm.
or I'm even at a training on the reservation, right? And somebody will say something and then the magic happens. The medicine opens up and you
The
can
air
see
changes.
it's just like, "Oh, they got here it is. Here it
Yeah.
is. Here's
Yeah.
the healing." And I use an awful lot of terms like medicine or
Mhm.
healing or, a lot of people are afraid, "Oh, will be afraid, you're not a doctor, you can't say." You know what? I'm an Indian. We call it healing. Stop, you
Absolutely.
know? Because if it makes me feel better than what I did 5 minutes ago and it doesn't have chemicals and I'm not snorting it up my nose or drinking it,
Mhm.
I win. I win.
Yes. I have gotten more into holistic medicine. I do have vitamins, but they're very, very like herbal type. I don't get I get them from a holistic store or
Yep,
from a distributor. Um, I'm only on one prescribed medication as my antidepressant, but I'm even moving away from that and utilizing other things like ashwagandha.
yep,
And
yep,
again,
yep.
this is full disclosure, folks. We are not doctors. This is just
Oh,
our personal road to
correct.
recovery and what we use for wellness, to for healing and wellness. Um, yeah, I think utilizing uh the more spiritual piece and you were talking about the change of how you feel before you even see things you feel the change. It can be the change in the air. You mentioned colors earlier.
Right.
Just the hue. Things get whiter and brighter. And I keep saying and I'm trying to work on it's not doing that, but yeah, It's practice. It's only my second
It is. Heck yeah,
episode,
girl.
so forgive me. Um, it's my show. It's my show. Um, but oh gosh, let me go into this one question that I'm
Sure.
looking down at, and it kind of it does it definitely fits into what we're talking about. When you're how do you combine your cultural traditions with the peer recovery principles?
So I am a facilitating trainer for white bison, right? And the Wellbriety movement is native based, right? It's a grassroots, native based organization that was technically built for Native Americans because they couldn't connect. There was that spiritual piece that was missing in AA, and it goes beyond the whole God talk, right? It goes beyond that. It goes with the side eyes.
Mhm.
It goes with the what are they doing here? It goes with that, and it has happened. I've gone to meetings down south, with the country club atmosphere, and I was there for recovery, and I got the side eye, and I'm like, "What you looking at?" Because I can get stupid real quick. Still, I mean, just
Sound like
because
a
I'm
Jersey
almost
girl to me. You're from Colorado?
what do you look at, what do you want, we're it's built on the spiritual principles of that medicine wheel, right? And
Mhm.
so when I'm practicing these principles, the principles, laws, and values of Native Americans have always been there. And I want to here's the footnote that I really want in bold letters as loud as I can possibly say: any Wellbriety training or curriculum is not just for Indians. Let's stop that. It's for everybody, right? If
I
you
learned
can't
that during COVID. Yes.
if you can't understand what they're talking about in recovery dharma, you might be able to figure it out in medicine wheel in 12. If you
Hmm.
can't figure it out, in a NA meeting, you might be able to help walk through some of that trauma in a
Hmm.
Mending Broken Hearts curriculum. It's not just for natives, right?
Right.
But all of those principles, laws, and values the Native American people have been living by prior to first contact, right?
Hmm.
Being honest, doing no harm. And when I am working boot to boot, because I still work boot to boot, I will always give back. I was told in order for me to keep it, I have to give it back. So I
Give it
have
back.
women
Yep.
that come to me and say, I want what you have. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You
There's a
sure?
lot of
Watch what
work
you pray for. You
involved.
just might get it, sweetheart.
In the yeah, I sure, go pray on this. But
Yeah.
I still give it to them a little bit more gently than what I got it, but I still walk them through that work, right? Using compassion, using um um uh
Empathy.
all of the
Hmm.
things, because I know where they're at,
Active
right?
listening.
All of it, I
Hmm.
have to hear. I may know the solution for them,
Hmm.
but it's not for me to tell them.
Right.
It's the discovery part.
Yes.
It's very similar to Vision Quest, what we call Hamblecha. Okay. You
Mm.
go on the hill, right? And your family you make your little prayer ties,
Hmm.
400 and I don't know how many there are. I don't know, 67 times 7, do the math, I don't know. There's a bunch of them, right? And they carry your all of your stuff, all your shit that you need to, like your little sleeping bag and your tarp, and the only thing you can carry up is your pipe, right? And they tie you in these, they don't wrap you up, but they lay out sacred space for you. You get
Hmm.
in the center, they tie you in, and they say deuces, and they come back for you in 4 days. You're up there with you, yourself, and God, and the stars, and the
Oh.
animals, and the dirt, and all of that, right? So
Mm.
you're crying for a vision. That's what that
Hmm.
word means. Hamblecha means to lament through the night for a vision. Okay.
Mm.
Well, you might get it. You might come off that hill and think that was bullshit. I didn't feel anything. But we see it. Those of us that
Right.
have abandoned you, we see what happens. And the answer, the vision is not going to come to you right away. It could be months, years later. I was talking to my uncle Saturday night when I was at Sweat. I went to Sweat and I told him, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how this happened. And he said, it's a good thing you didn't know because you would have screwed it up. So just
That's it. Mm-hmm.
walk, walk. Just Jackie, like you're dancing, like your Sundance prayer. Right foot, left foot, breathe.
Right.
You just dance to the next gate. Right foot, left
Mm.
foot, breathe, you know? And so it when I'm thinking about these principles and when I'm thinking about all the characteristics of being a peer support, I have to sometimes lead from the back.
Mm.
I have to say, okay, let's discuss your options.
Mhm.
And we lay them out on the table and we get rid of all the garbage, all the candy wrappers and all the broken candles and the pop top from 1968. We get rid of all that. Now what do we have? We have these three choices. Okay, I'm going to step back here and I'm going to be praying for you. And I want you to go where it resonates in here. That's the best way
Mhm.
for me to work with somebody, Carol. And I know that sounds airy
Yeah.
fairy. I know it sounds like I know it sounds crazy, but it
Yeah.
it works because I can I can tell them what to do, but I'm not gonna
Mhm.
because when I was in active addiction, if you told me to do something, I was gonna go do the other thing, right?
I was gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
I went the other way. Yeah. No.
yeah.
And oh my God, that all of that was so rich. When I think about having that spiritual awakening, and I talked about it in regards to my son and seeing in his eyes speak to me.
Mhm.
And I literally, there was times I thought I was hallucinating, but I truly know to this day that his eyes at 5 days old, 4 days old actually, because it wasn't until the next day that stopped and I put down the street drugs. I was still on Matt at that time, but his eyes spoke to me and said, "Mommy, please stop. I need you." You
Mhm.
mentioned it earlier, and I love you. Isn't that enough?
Isn't that enough?
Hmm.
It blow and okay, so I'm that crazy Indian where I can't say that I had a spiritual awakening. I've had
Multiple.
several.
Yes.
I've had several because I'm awake now. My mind is awake. My emotions are awake.
Your
Uh,
whole
my
self.
my
Oof.
body, my DNA is awake. My DNA is awake.
Mhm.
And my creator speaks when I need to hear it. I'm convinced that he talks to my DNA sometimes. And I was like, could you rein her in a
She she's
little?
she's she's messing up again. We need to put the barriers out. Put
Right.
let's get a few Jersey barriers out there so she doesn't
Absolutely.
cross the
Oh my
line.
gosh. Right. Just rein her in a little bit. It happens every day, and not every day. Okay. I'm conscious of it. Um, um like a week later I'll be like, oh wow, unless it's like magnitude, like when I can honestly say when my dad's angels came, his choir of angels came for him, it was loud in the room and my brothers and my sister were there, my mom's there, and an aunt and some people were there, and I'm like, how can nobody hear this? How can nobody's reacting and I'm trying to act normal, right? Still, but I
It's
thought,
like, doctor, is there a doctor in
oh,
the house? She's going through a psychosis episode.
exactly, exactly, and then, especially after my car accident,
Mm.
um,
You had one of those too. Mm.
yeah, I was in a Dodge Note, and a Jeep Grand Cherokee came through my window and kissed me on the forehead. And they cut me out of the car. I have no idea how long I was in the hospital. I don't know. What I can tell you is that at 10 years sober, I had to learn to um, tie my shoes. I had to learn to read and write again. I had to learn. My sister
Miracle.
had to
Oh.
bathe me for 6 weeks. She had to help me. She had to teach me how to tie my shoes again. And this was at the age of 51, or well, no, 6 years ago, 50,
Mhm.
whatever that is. Um, here's a spiritual awakening. I asked some woman, because I was struggling to
Mm.
learn the words to a Lakota prayer, and she said, "Well, why don't we just start taking? I'll give you Lakota lessons, Lakota language lessons. Here is how spiritual awakenings happen for me. By learning to read and write in Lakota, I started being able to recognize and speak the words in English and read words in English. And I could, it woke something up inside of me that had to be rewired, right? And now, when I have a hallucination, I know it's just vision. It's just
Mhm.
vision.
Yes.
It's just vision.
Yes. I love when you just put out there that there's multiple, just like there's multiple pathways, there's multiple moments in our recovery where we have this sense of awakening, where if we told the average person, they would probably want to sanction us and commit us
Absolutely.
somewhere. I had many of those moments, not too far. When I got back here to Connecticut, it was literally an overhaul to what I knew. You know, uh, Turning 60, working, leaving my family, uh, going into a new job there in Las Vegas, meeting Raquel for the first time in person, being in Colorado, actually meeting up with my ex's son and grandson there, and then coming back to Connecticut before my family and not having that red carpet
Right.
experience. And I'm going to put it out there. Fuck this. You know? And literally, my spirit guides, my ancestors, God, universe, source said, come here. We need to do a breakdown
Yep.
so that you can have an ascension.
Absolutely.
And
Every
I'm
time.
still in that. I'm still in that. Like I'm definitely on a pink cloud right now. It's starting this new venture,
Mhm.
scared as hell.
Of
But that's
course.
how I was in recovery too.
Right.
Coming in with a 5-day old baby,
Mhm.
I was not planning to have children. No more than I was planning on meeting someone in recovery and then being married to them. And now we're better friends now that we're separated than we were when we were married. But
Right.
that's another story. I also want to, touch back with around a white bison because Don Coyes, met him a
Yep.
few times in person. Love, love, love him. Love his daughter. I know she's taken the reins
Yeah,
in
Kateri. Mhm.
and she's got three. I think she's got three little
Yes.
ones. The first time I was part of a Wellbriety for years through, and I I loved the opening. It's like all of a sudden it was like drums. It
Yep.
was like 10 people circled around a drum and they were drumming. And I was like, am I in the right meeting? You're like, you're in Zoom. Like it was when the days of Zoom bombers. And I was like, is this a Zoom bomber happening? I was, but I could feel the beat. It literally was vibrating through my whole body, through the screen, just like as you're talking, everything you're saying is literally your energy. Your energy is vibrating through this whole screen. And at that moment, I was just in awe. I was just in awe. I said, wow, this is another modality. This is another spiritual walk that I've been missing. That's where I found Recovery Dharma as well, online. And both of those modalities, and once in a while I'll pull in, things that I learned from 12 step. 12 step saved my life. But
Yep.
I feel that I was brought here. I was created to wear these multiple hats so that I could be, again, I can't be all things to all people, but that I could be, if you're talking about this, well, AA doesn't work for me. Hey, I'm going to bring up Wellbriety. I'm going to bring up Recovery Dharma. I'm going to bring up
Absolutely.
meditation. I'm going to bring up Reiki. I just became
Yep.
Reiki certified. I'm going to
Yes.
bring up whatever will work for you. And if you're caught, you're holding back because of fear, hey, I'm going to share a little bit of my lived experience because I've been there. I know what it is. Trust, building relate. You talked about a relationship with spirit, relationship.
Mhm.
I had to learn to have a relationship with myself
Right.
because spirit has always been within me.
Mhm.
And that was another rebirth. I had been baptized in
Mhm.
in my 30s. I think it was in my 30s something. Yeah, my late 30s. I was rebaptized, which was a wonderful spiritual connection and really literally changed my life. I don't know. It's just I hope that anyone that's seeing this podcast is going to allow their curiosity to recharge,
Absolutely.
especially now that we're experiencing so much information, distorted information,
Right.
a lot of fear is being run through society and communities.
Absolutely.
How do you encourage your communities around these modalities? I know that, like, take us out into a day to day, Jacque, what you do, not only wearing your hat as a peer support specialist, but how you really integrate into the community. I really love to hear a little bit more about that.
Okay, so as when I have my trainer hat on, right? I'm visiting the
Mm.
reservations, right? I sometimes have to drive 4 hours into Indian country that I've never been on to get to the facility, right? Which is an adventure in itself sometimes. Sometimes it's an adventure. Let's just say that out loud. And when I get there, normally my audience is doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, teehee, case managers, social workers, attorneys, all the things, right? And then if I'm lucky, I actually get peers from the community, right? And sometimes we're lucky enough to have elders in the community. They might not have been an alcoholic or an addict, but it has touched their life. So then they come to my training. And at first, I'm not going to lie to you, because I am a half breed and because I'm not from their reservation, there are times where the locals are a little standoffish, as they should be. And that's
Hesitant.
protectiveness,
Yeah.
right? That's
Hmm.
protectiveness. But then I start going through the material with them, and I continue to tell them, I am not here to change your ways. I am not here to tell you do it this way and this way. That's not it. I am giving you the nuts and the bolts and the 2x4s and the concrete and the roofing material, and you're going to build this within your community.
Mhm.
Usually by the third day, we've exchanged numbers, and I still get calls from trainings that I did last year. Jackie, can you help me? I need this little thing. So I
Mhm.
get to go into the community and I get to tell them this can work for you if you build it, right? That'll fill the dreams, build it, and they will come. It's
Oh,
that
yes.
way. Now, in my own community in Denver, right? Because my life is so chaotic and my schedule is so chaotic. A couple of my ceremony brothers are like, well, you should start a Wellbriety meeting here. And I'm like, I don't have time. I'm too busy. And then all of a sudden I heard myself, and I'm like, you're ridiculous. So I made an agreement with them and I said, okay, if you help me, I'll do it. I'll put my name on it. We'll get it up there. Well, it's not just a meeting, Carol.
Yeah.
What it is family. Whoever walks in that door is automatically a relative, because
Mhm. I love that. Oh.
we need to bring them in and help them. They've got nobody else to go to, right? And we read through the Red Road to Recovery, right, book. We read that book. um or I'm sorry, Red Road to Wellbright. Read through that book, and we have discussion, right? And then they're like, I thought this was an Indian meeting, because most of my family, my ceremony family, we're all a bunch of crossbreeds, right? So I call us the island of
Yeah.
misfit toys, man, just like in Rudolph. We're all
As the holidays are coming.
right. We're all different. But you know what?
Yes.
The the we all have the
Mhm.
same heartbeat. And that heartbeat
Yeah.
is to help whomever we can help whenever, right? And so there are times where I'm I giving a lesson, even though I don't like to. Sometimes I just like to be a part of the meeting. That never happens here. So sometimes I'll be
Mhm.
giving a lesson, and then other times someone will be falling out in the meeting, just absolutely emotionally wrecked. And then what I do is I go after my medicine, which is my voice, and I ask for a drum, and I will sing with them, for them, which is prayer, and until they feel that wash out, all that trapped emotional bullshit comes out when we need it to come out. And the best way for it to come out with
Mhm.
is the heartbeat of the drum, because then that allows Mother Earth and her energy to come through that person and help heal that wound. We're wounded children.
I love it.
That's why we drink and drug. We're
Mhm.
wounded children, because
Yeah, trying to numb that pain
absolutely.
that we couldn't control at that time. And even when we recognized that we could control
Mhm.
some things within ourselves, we were still affected by the things that we couldn't control. That's where I love the
Correct.
the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
Yeah.
and the power to or the courage to change the things I can, which is me,
Yeah.
or
And the
how I
wisdom to
perceive it,
know
my
the
actions,
difference.
my behavior, the difference. Right.
And a
Absolutely.
lot of that, when we're going through this, Carol, too, it's very important to mention intergenerational trauma, right? Because I
Yes.
said that we're all hurt children. That's why we drink and drug. And a lot of our parents were hurt children, and that's why they drank and
Mhm.
drugged. And
Just
then
kept the
their
cycle
parents
going.
and their parents and their, it It's the trauma that is stuck within our bodies.
Mhm.
You know, the trauma is stuck in our bodies, and we have got to find a way to release that. On that medicine wheel, I'm going to go back to the medicine wheel just for a
Mhm.
moment. Please bear with me.
Yes,
On
please.
that
No, no,
medicine
please.
wheel, you know, there are the four parts of the human being. Your emotions are in the east. So I've got to take care of Jackie's emotions. If I don't take